Ron Newman, a championship's brewing. Sweet 16. The San Diego Sockers are back-to-back MASL Ron Newman Cup champions.
You think I'm jumping out the window? I got
Tavoy Morgan says, I ain't done. He's got his 5th goal of the game in the 3rd quarter.
For Childs, his header, goal!
Childs bent to the far post,
goal! It's Williams back to Pereira's, his shot, saved by Pardo, the save of the year! And he's got Gutierrez, and Christian Gutierrez will shoot and score! Churras with a step to the middle, to the left foot, still open, shoots, he scores! Charlie fakes around a man, shoots, he scores!
Hello once again, everybody. Welcome to Soccer's Overtime, your weekly look inside the San Diego Sockers and the Major Arena Soccer League, streaming to you live on Twitch. Craig Elston, Jerry Jimenez, we are back with you once again, 1 hour later than normal, but still showing up as part of your Tuesday Night Lights, and ready to present Soccer's Overtime Season 5, Episode 15, titling this one, Suspension of Disbelief. You know what happens when you go to the movies and they have the big action sequence in the 3rd act and you really just can't believe it, but you have to go along for the ride? Suspension of disbelief. That's what we've got rolling with us here tonight. Mr. Jimenez, amongst everything else, both sides of this podcast are turning up underneath the weather. How are you, my friend?
Could be a lot better in a lot of different ways, but I'm here for everybody that is watching live, listening to us. We don't want to disappoint, so you'll notice my voice may sound a little different, and I apologize. I'm pushing through it, but no complaints from me. Just we gotta get through this episode. There's a lot to talk about, Craig.
He's feeling sick. I've got COVID. We're just in fine fettle here this evening.
Not doing good.
Soccer's Overtime.
We're just
Season 5.
Falling apart, Craig.
It's amazing. Life comes at you fast sometimes, folks. Life comes at you just a little bit fast. Here's what's on the show tonight. A bad weekend in Texas has an even worse finish. Much worse finish. How did the Sockers turn this thing around? How do they turn it around on the field? How do they turn it around off the field? How do they go down to Mexico shorthanded and pull a result out of this coming weekend? There's only one place we can turn when things go like this. We've got to go to the top. We got to go to leadership. We got to go to the captain. Craig Childs will be our guest. He will come up at the bottom of the hour. And look, we're just here so we don't get fined.
It's pretty much.
Marshawn
Lynch said it best.
Marshawn is inspiring this particular podcast. We thank everybody who is tuning in live. We got a big audience. I'm not surprised. There's a lot of folks who want to hear what we have to say about what happened last weekend. So welcome to everybody who's joining us live. Make sure that you smash that follow button, that you follow that you get the live notification every time our San Diego Sockers channel goes live. Thanks to everybody who's watching the replay later on YouTube. Please like, comment, subscribe, help us grow our audiences. And last but certainly not least, everyone who tunes in to the audio version of the show. We appreciate you on whatever platform you decide to ingest Soccer's Overtime, and we really do love it if you happen to be, for example, an Apple Podcast person or a YouTube person, that you give us those 5-star ratings, those written reviews. They always help. So thanks to everybody for being here. A day after our last show, Jerry, I caught COVID, or at least, tested positive. Didn't really feel it till that first day. That was last Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Still tested positive this morning, but the symptoms are, 92% gone. It hasn't been bad. I've been going out for walks. I've been walking the dog. I'm just stuck in this cave. I'm stuck in this backroom cave until I can show a negative test and get out of here. And I know that just over the course of today, you've been having a real rough go of it, and you've been deteriorating a bit, both voice and how you're feeling. So as much as this could be in a different universe, like the spiciest Soccer's Overtime of all time, we're probably not going to open up the spice jar to the level that we could. And
don't
there's
say
reasons.
that. Don't say that, because don't just pretend like everything's fine, because there's a lot of people watching us right now, and they definitely want it to be spicy. But we're not feeling very spicy, Craig. I know we're not. But just don't tell
there's certain things you can do, and there's certain things you can't do. I do want to make one point right off of the top. You and I are club employees of the San Diego Sockers. Soccer's Overtime is a club show. This isn't Heart of LAFC, right? This isn't Padres Hot Tub. This isn't a place where we are independent and have no responsibility to the club, no responsibility in a tertiary way to the league, where we could just fire off. Does that podcast exist in a different Quantum Mania universe? Maybe.
It happens daily in our conversations. That podcast will never be listened to.
Yeah, exactly. Phone calls, text messages. There are ways, but we do have to have some responsibility while we're on this show. But we are going to talk about everything that happened this past weekend. We're going to do it in the way that we always do it. Yep. We're going to do 2 game recaps right off the top. We're going to discuss not only the second game, but the first game that happened over the course of the weekend. And then we're going to get into what happens after the game on Saturday, and then we'll talk to Craig. So that's the direction, and that's what's going to be happening on the show. I might take just a little bit more lead than normal because Jer's really feeling it. And cool, right? Here we go. Let's do it. Let's do the show. Let's start things off with Thursday. Because, again, Soccer's had a Texas two-step. It just wasn't a game in Mesquite. They had a game on Thursday night at the Credit Union of Texas Event Center against the Dallas Sidekicks. A game that, thanks to the suspensions of the previous week, the Sockers played without Brandon Escoto, played without Cesar Cerda. Craig Childs was gone on a coaching assignment that night. So it allowed for a guy like Christian Gutierrez to get in on the set piece action, and for he and Charlie Gonzalez to help team up to really pick up the slack offensively early in this game for San Diego, as the Sockers jumped out to a really quick 2-0 lead in this one.
Yeah, I mean, the Sockers on this one, I think, came out to make a statement, and especially after what had transpired in the previous game, having all these players out, I think they came out pretty strong right off the bat. I think as the game progressed, and we'll talk about it a little bit, they did take the foot off the pedal a little bit. But, not having Churras there, not having Childs, it's good to always have, obviously, the other 2 Cs, Christian and Charlie there, the other CHs, I should say, to pick up the slack, as you mentioned. So that's good. We have a lot of CH names in our squad, and it just some CHs made it up for the other CHs. I don't know. It was a good start there from Christian and Charlie, and I just can't help but always sing praises of those 2 guys. And I'm a big Charlie stan, so there's that.
Yeah, 2-0 early in, it looked like, okay, Sockers are going to romp here. Sockers have learned something from the previous week. we're trending in the right direction. That changed very quickly, as sure turns out having Blas Perez and Roman Torres on the team and back from Panama, it does change the shape of the Dallas sidekicks, quite literally. Two big fellas in the lineup, but Blas Perez gets 2 goals in a right hurry and shows the wicked left foot on this set piece, tying things up just like that at 2-2. That was a right foot on just an absolutely unstoppable shot.
Yeah, I think I've said it before. I'll say it again. Dad bods unite. This is like, just right here goes to show that, if you have the skill, it doesn't matter that you can have a little bit of a belly there. But Blas Perez has all the skills. Look at that. I mean, what a beautiful shot. And I'm giving him a hard time just because I also have a dad bod. But they're huge. You can see them. They're big guys out there, and it makes a big difference. Especially Roman Torres. It was good to see him out there too. We had talked about him and what that would look like. I thought we were gonna have to wait a little bit more to see him, to be honest. And so it's good to see that they're, already making a difference, already coming in and starting to figure out what the Dallas type of play is going to be.
Yeah, at least scoring some goals and making them a little bit more competitive. Dallas defense in the first half was not competitive. Dallas has the worst defense in the MASL, and Leo was able to carve it up for 3 first-half assists, twice setting up Felipe Gonzalez. This is just a beautiful through ball. Takes 3 defenders out of the play. Felipe does the rest to get past Gamboa. But back and forth, because an own goal, which turns out to be something that the Sockers would allow one of in each game on the Texas road trip, ties things back up 3-3. That one wound up being credited to the man who kicked it, Lovegrove, even though it was originally listed to Aligwe. Aligwe never touched the ball. It was actually off the leg of Felipe Gonzalez. He was the one who scored the goal for San Diego. But from that point forward, the rest of the quarter, Sockers really put it together. Dynamic offense, sharing the ball, getting the ball into dangerous positions to score. And the Sockers rack up 4 goals in that second period to turn 3-3 into 7-3. And with that kind of a bang-up first half, again, it was encouraging the first 30 minutes of the Dallas game.
Yeah, it was again a good first half, but I mean we have to also talk about that second half. I think in previous seasons we have been a team that picks it up in the second half during this game, and in the last few games it hasn't felt that way. Greg, I don't know how you felt about that. At least right now, maybe not specifically just this one, but our second half kind of seemed like we slowed down a bit.
Oh, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it in this game. We're going to talk about it in the next game. We're going to talk about it over the course of the last 5 games. It's been really disappointing. But, as the highlights still kind of roll the second quarter, you're getting great goals from Charlie Galasso, Felipe Gonzalez scoring, Farber on setups, Leo on setups. Tavoy gets the last goal on a beautiful late turn to make it 7-3. Soccer's really, again, showing that dynamicism. And then I'm honestly going to ask Craig the question when he comes on, Jerry, because I don't know the answer, which is was there a decision made at halftime for the Sockers to essentially stop trying to score? I mean, it's not impossible. I've heard them do it before. I've heard it's been the fourth quarter of a blowout, but I've heard, Philly say possess the ball. I don't know if I want to give San Diego credit for that, or to say that instead Dallas changed their tactics in the second half and the Sockers were unable to score a single goal against the worst defense in the league.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a combination of both. Could be a little bit of a combination of both, right? Dallas stepping it up and maybe just doing a better job at covering the Sockers, and then the Sockers taking that foot off the pedal a little bit there in that second half. But, I mean, I don't like that. It feels to me, and this may not be the case, but it feels to me like sometimes, especially during these last few games, the Sockers are coming in almost like they're feeling like it's a given game, and they say that they aren't. That's not their mentality, but it looks otherwise. It looks almost like they're getting too comfortable and thinking like, oh yeah, we can just go into Dallas and kill them, and that's not the case for any team. So I don't know. That's what it feels like to me.
I agree with you. I was wondering, did they bunker in too hard? I just don't think that's the case. I don't think you can do that against the Dallas Sidekicks. The Sockers looked checked out in the second half of this match. And I will absolutely tell you, you could have given me an entire lined sheet of paper and said right on each line a potential score line for this game at the half. It was 7-3 at the half. What's the final score line going to be, Craig? You've got 20 guesses. Fill up this sheet of paper. 7-4 would not have made the sheet of paper. That would not have been even possibly a guess as to how this match would wind up. And you can make excuses. You can say, hey, they were ahead. They put in Xavier in the fourth quarter, so they're trying to defend for the kid. They were looking to Mesquite. They didn't want to wear out their legs because they knew that the bigger game was the second game. I don't see it. I see a team that just didn't. They looked a little checked out in the second half against Dallas. And as it turns out, that poor form would wind up being the thing that they took with them from Allen up to Mesquite.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That continuation of that second half, especially the fourth quarter, that was a mentality they were coming into Mesquite. They had already lost the moment they stepped inside of that arena. So, yeah, it definitely felt that way. It was a bummer of an ending. And, yeah, I think a good point. Somebody in the chat just mentioned, I can't go quite back, but somebody in the chat I just saw, so I think it might have been Eddie Bear, that, if we put X in, then that we pretty much just felt like it was already a given. We were going to take it. And, yeah, there's a little bit of truth to that. So, do I like it? No, not at all.
No, right. But at the end of the day, it's a win. The Sockers win the match. I thought, by the way, Xavier played well.
Yeah.
They tried to invent a little controversy on this. He does the exact right thing. He lets the ball go through. The dude fell down. Mitchell winds up having himself a rough weekend in terms of people falling down on him and getting cards as results. Nonetheless, that's what it took for Dallas themselves to score a goal, is to go 6v4 and have a couple minutes of 6v4, and that's where they wind up getting a goal. 2-1 on the road trip, win 2 in a row on the road trip. All of these things are things that you're happy about. But at Sockers, you do expect a little bit more. You expect a little bit more. You expect that championship edge. And I think that we saw pretty clearly that this match was kind of an NBA-style regular season. Phone it in. You did good for 30. Chill out. Cruise through the ending, win the match. It's not the kind of thing that gets you team of the week. It's not the kind of thing that gets you, awards or celebrations. It's just kind of like a ho-hum. Yeah, B+ paper. It's all fine. And that was the San Diego Dallas game. It was, honestly, underwhelming. It's a match. It's a win. It's fine. Underwhelming.
Yeah.
You get to Saturday. Now, we've talked about it. We talked about it last week on the show. Mesquite Arena is not an easy place to play. Not because of its fearsome fan environment. Not because it's got a particular strategic advantage to the home team. It's because the field is just not a super high-quality field. The ball rolls. It bounces. It's lumpy. It's a little bit off. It'll be a little bit higher here, a little bit lower there. And that's no excuse. It just happens to be a place that now the Sockers have played twice, and that the Sockers have really not played well twice. I was watching this from right here in this very seat, And I got to tell you, man, even on that goal, which you saw the ball hopping on Mitchell Cardenas, and then he made a nice play to spear it out of the air and get it over to Tavoy, the Sockers never looked like they had their legs in this match. They never looked like a quick team, I think, at any point in this game.
No. I think just as a whole, there was a little bit of, like you mentioned, the ending of that last game against Dallas going into this game against Mesquite. And I don't think that the guys looked good at all the entire time. They didn't feel like themselves. There was something already up, but it just didn't feel right going into this game. Like right off the bat, it just didn't. Mm-hmm. It was a different feel to this game, which is a bummer because they're wearing the most beautiful kits in the whole wide universe. I may be biased, but seriously, like it was a bummer. And then you see obviously our ex very own Andy Reyes there scoring a goal on us to bring it up and tie it up there. But, they put up a fight, and I think Mesquite also came in. And the Mesquite has always been and will always be a very physical team. And, we didn't look good. We just weren't able to finish. Obviously, they have a great goalkeeper in Pollo. We'll always sing his praises. But this one was just different, Craig. There's something in the air that just didn't feel the same. Didn't feel right.
It's a younger team. Mesquite is a younger team. Guys like Ortiz and Mendez and Macias, they run around the field. They scramble around the field. And Mesquite scrambled around the field, I thought, the entire game, whereas the Sockers kind of tried to play a really emotionless, and I know that sounds funny given what happened at the end of the match. We'll get there eventually. But they kind of played a real emotionless game. And I'll note this goal right here. This is number 9 Tavoy Morgan scoring a goal for San Diego. He got up, no smile, no dance, stone-faced. It was very, very strange to me. I thought there were a number of times where the ball was fed to Tavoy in the front court, and there was just nobody backing him up. It was like everyone was chilling out at the yellow line going like, okay, what are you going to do? We're going to hang out back here. And it was difficult to watch. Then, you see Sebastian Mendez hits a banger from behind the yellow line. Yeah, was this deflected off Christian Gutierrez's shoulder? Maybe. Was Boris slightly unsided by it? Probably. Nonetheless, absolutely brilliant goal, comes out of nowhere. And when I reviewed this film footage today, this wasn't the film footage I've had to review the most, as you know, Jerry. Yeah. When I reviewed this film footage today, you really do see this was a game, no excuses. Team didn't bring the attitude they needed to, but it was a game of some funny bounces. It was a game of some things going not just quite right, some shots going just a little bit off, and then Mendez hits one from a million miles away, and then Macias puts his laces through a perfect strike. There was an element of we're really playing our C game, and then you're going to come up with a couple of A game beauties in the middle of it. Well, it's the absolute recipe you need to beat the San Diego Sockers.
One of the sports, I would say, part of the sports handbook for any player, coach, whatever is doing, any sort of an interview, the go-to phrase is "just wasn't our day," and I think in this situation it applies perfectly. It just really was not the Sockers' day.
Well, now we are starting to see second half highlights. The third quarters for the San Diego Sockers on this road trip have been absolute basura. Okay?
Trash.
Absolute trash. At Empire, they lost the third quarter 3-0. At Tacoma, they lost the third quarter 2-0. At Dallas, they couldn't get a goal against the Dallas Sidekicks. And a 0-0 quarter in the second half against the Sidekicks is a loss. And in Mesquite, they got this wild header-to-header goal 50 seconds left in the third quarter, but they gave up the first 2 goals to Mesquite of the quarter to turn 2-2 into 4-2. Overall, in the second halves of these 4 matches, the Sockers have been outscored 14-7. Keep in mind, through 10 games, the Sockers only gave up 31 goals total. And they've given up 14 goals in the second half of the last 4 games. And it's very disappointing. It's concerning, and it's one of the questions we'll be asking the captain later. What's going on with these halftime not adjustments? What's happening at halftime that's taking this team from up to down? Now, I want to get into this for just a second, Chair.
This celebration.
You see how emphatic Leo is right there? He's reacting to his WBC World Cup teammate, Pablo da Silva. He's celebrating in front of Pablo. Pablo got in the Sockers' heads so deep over the course of this match. And I think Eddie in these highlight videos does a really good job of showing some of the plays that weren't key plays that involved Pablo running over a guy or then getting knocked over. And all of the different physicality and all of the different argument. Because here, Pablo on the field again, Leo going crazy absolutely again. He's already up in his head. He's playing an angry game at this point in the match. Leo did nothing wrong the entire game. This could have been the go-ahead goal. This could have been the goal that changed the entire tone of everything that happened. And everything that happened in the net was completely legitimate. Leo going up for the high kick, no problem at all. The announcers said they kicked the man in the face. Clearly, 100% not true. Not true. Luano wanted to show he was injured. He was fine. He continued in the match. And the Sockers had the lead. But right here, Tattoo threw the flag for a holding foul that led to the run-up to goal. Watch it one more time. And here's the dreaded shirt pull. And it's as simple as that, Jerry. Was that a foul? Could you pause the tape right here for just a second? Because here's the go-ahead. But it's such a critical... This is the whole game right here. The whole game, it's these seconds. Because San Diego has the go-ahead goal. The goal is wiped out. And you can't... You can get mad at the refs, but you can't blame them when they see a shirt pull. It's the kind of thing that will be called every single time. It's the kind of thing that you can get away with reversing because you've got something you can point to. You can say, look at that. Look at the shirt. That was a hold. That's going to take off the goal. Is it surprising? Yes. Is it probably my least favorite part of video replay? It is. Okay, you scored. I want to go back and see if something else happened in the play that I can find. I would prefer that a call has to be made in order to be challenged, which is the case in other sports. But in this league, the rules are you can challenge for a call that wasn't made, to find a call that wasn't made. And they found the call. They asked for it, and they found it.
Yeah.
About a minute later, you get this moment. And you get another close call. You get another call that that could be disputed. As Ortiz goes into the corner and he and Big Rojo collide. The whistle sounds, and immediately Ortiz restarts the ball, gets it over to Mendez. No one's looking at that, and it's the goal for the lead. Because he was not taking a direct look at net, it is completely fine for him to do a quick restart. Did they restart the ball at the position of the foul? Probably not. That ball was probably not spotted at the position of the foul. Nonetheless, this is the second time on this road trip, Jerry. A critical goal that is scored because the whistle sounds, 5 Sockers lift their heads, their eyes, and their voices in protest. And the opponent puts the ball down and restarts play. They continue to play the game instead of complaining to the officials. This has to leave the Sockers playbook because, to me, this is where this team falls apart the most. And you can get mad at the refs for something like that. Point of fact, we've seen the Sockers score quick restart goals that are critical goals in matches. We've seen it happen this year where Leo did a quick restart that led to a goal. We saw it last year in the playoffs against Chihuahua, a critical goal in Game 2 of the semifinals. So we can't get mad about quick restarts. What we can get mad about is a team that lost its head complaining about the referees.
Yeah, I feel like, and Kay, we were just saying it right now in the chat, right? That's something that the Sockers do, the quick restart. So, I mean, we just lost our heads, and like I said from the beginning, and I think it just didn't feel like it was quite the same team that we're used to seeing. These last couple of games, it's felt a little different with them. Yeah, I mean, what are we gonna do? We move on as much as we can, I guess.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
'Cause we
the
gotta
rest of
talk
the
about
match
what
didn't
happened
go
after.
the Sockers' way. Yeah, and now we got to talk about what happened after. This is where the filters are on a little bit. We're going to talk to the captain. We're going to ask the captain questions, and we'll see what he has to say, and he's coming up momentarily. This is what I want to say, and it's something that we talked about it, not at the front office. I'm not at the front office. I'm in my Corona cave. Nonetheless, it's something we
Corona
talked
cave.
about today.
Corona Craig Cave.
Yes. There are two sides to every story. One side got their say in what has happened since Saturday night. There is what you can see on the camera, and there's what is not seen on the camera, such as the inciting incident that started everything that you saw that followed after the final whistle at Mesquite Arena that happened while the camera was watching a ball into an empty net on the other side of the field. And that was a confrontation that Pablo da Silva began and instigated with Tavoy Morgan. Now, the only way that you can get beyond just looking at what is on the film is to have a proper review. And by having a proper review, I mean talking to the people involved. And we have been told, and this is confirmed, and this comes from the general manager of our team, our leader, Sean Bowers. No member of the San Diego Sockers traveling party, no player, no coach, no official that was there in Texas was spoken to or asked a single question of during the process that led to the suspensions that followed. There was not one question asked of Tavoy Morgan, of Mitchell Cardenas, of Gerardo Jurado, of Phil Silvaggio, or anyone else involved with the San Diego Sockers. So that's it's just not the way to get to the truth. It's just not the way to get to what happened. And I think it's deeply disappointing, and I'm sure we'll hear it from our captain momentarily, that the Sockers are now being given this mantle as the, I don't know, the 80s Detroit Pistons, the bad boys, the rough and tumble team, but regardless, this entire situation is regrettable. If you want to be the best club in the MASL, if you want to be a 3-time champion, these are not the types of situations to be in. And to be left with, you didn't talk to us, they started it, all the type of childhood stuff that we used to say on the playground when the admins came to break us up. The last thing I have to say, man, this entire situation is embarrassing. It's regrettable, and it's embarrassing for our brand to be associated with this stuff.
Yeah, and the only thing that I'm going to add to that is just that we're not defending the actions of anybody. I would say, even as a fan, the way I'm trying to look at this is that I would like a little bit more transparency about the way that things are figured out and decided. And it should be fair all the way across the board for every single team, especially in a league that intends to be a professional or states that they are a professional league, and we are a professional league. But things like these, I think, kind of diminish the quality of what could be, and it's really unfair to everybody that's involved. And yes, it's the entire situation is regrettable and embarrassing. And I would say that, if you look back, it's not like something that it's just one person saying it. If you look back and actually see some of the suspensions that have been handed out in other games that do not involve the Sockers whatsoever, and then you look at the last couple of games for us, there's just there doesn't seem to be no rhyme or reason about how they're handing out some of these suspensions, these fees, these fines, and how they're going about actually investigating these things. If you're able to come out with the decision within 48 hours, then you know that maybe there's a little bit more work to be done there. And yes, I've heard too also, the people are going to complain that you're not coming out with these decisions right away. But I would much rather that they spend the right amount of time and make it so that it's not obvious that there's a miscommunication here between what the league is doing and what the clubs are expecting to happen. It's just a bummer all around. Again, I'm not saying that I'm defending anybody in either one of the sides. I think both sides are at fault here. For losing our heads, we absolutely are at fault. And so I think that how the Sockers handle it from this point on is going to be huge. And we've talked about it already. Whenever the going gets tough, the Sockers always seem to be able to step it up and use that in a positive way. And I think that that's the way that we have to look at it as a club, as fans, is take the higher road. And I like to always say this, and you've seen me maybe if you follow me on social media, I always say, when they go low, we go high. That's just the way we got to do it.
I think you told Michelle Obama exactly to say that.
I did.
A few years ago.
I did.
People don't know that about Jerry.
Did not do that.
People don't know that about Jerry. We've got somebody far more qualified than either Jerry or myself to talk about this. Of course, the fallout to Voy Morgan, a 3-game suspension. Mitchell Cardenas, who got assaulted by a still anonymous member of either the Mesquite staff or the arena staff.
I hate that word,
somehow
by the way. I hate that word, assault.
Yeah.
It's come out now multiple times in the last couple of weeks. I hate it.
Our player got physically restrained by an anonymous member of the opponent's staff.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And that turned into a 2-game suspension for that staff member who nobody knows to this day and will not impact Mesquite's on-field trouble. However, Mitchell Cardenas will also be suspended 2 games. Gerardo, 1 game. Phil Salvaggio got a fine. The Sockers got a fine. The Sockers got a second fine that nobody even understands, which is you don't get to change your Mexican airline tickets. Like, oh, hey, I bought this ticket under Jerry Jimenez's name, but Jerry can't make the trip. So now we're going to transfer that ticket over to Craig Elston, and Craig Elston will take the trip instead. Nope. You just get to buy a whole new ticket. It's not great. The club is at their lowest point that we've seen in a while. And it's time to talk to the man who knows every single thing about the San Diego Sockers, the sport of indoor soccer, and this club. He is the all-time leading scorer. He is a 6-time champion. He is a 3-time MVP. He is the captain. Craig Childs is joining us on this suspension of disbelief San Diego Soccer's Overtime podcast. Hi, Cap.
What's up, guys? I'm going to do my best to not get fined and give everybody a little insight to our perspective as players.
I just want to say I'm so happy to see that the mustache is still there. Pretty happy about that.
Thank you.
I thought it was going to be gone, Craig.
Yeah, me too.
I thought it was definitely going to be gone.
It's really close. I'll give it this weekend and then see how that goes. But it's definitely on the chopping block. I think the old mustache went down the sink in Chihuahua.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct. Yes, it left with the losing streak, or with the winning streak, as I remember. So something to be considered. All right, we've laid out the situation. We've laid out a little bit of the club's kind of official stance. What can you add? What can you say about the situation at hand?
Just to talk through what happened from our standpoint on the bench. There was a timeout called with 6 seconds left. I can remember being on the bench telling everybody, "Listen, this game is going to end, and we're going to exit right. We're not going to go over to them. We're not going to shake hands." We felt like they were taunting us a little bit. We felt like the emotion was too high to go have a kumbaya moment with them, and so we said, "Everybody move right. We're going to immediately exit this arena, and we'll take it on the chin as we deserve based on our performance in the game." And then you know, I won't even go into a team taking a timeout with 6 seconds left and the lack of respect there. And some of the younger players may not understand that. Pablo absolutely does. And the game ends and we go to move right and what we see is Pablo approach Tavoy and quite frankly put his hand in Tavoy's face off camera, followed by 4 or 5 Mesquite players who immediately circle Tavoy. And I'm not going to paint Tavoy as an angel in that situation, but he absolutely was antagonized in that moment and was poked and prodded and that led to us going to support our teammate and pull him out of that situation and from there it escalated. And I heard you guys saying it was embarrassing for the organization. In a sense, it was embarrassing. I can understand the league may be embarrassed by that happening. However, from a player standpoint, I wasn't embarrassed, and I think it shows you that if you're going to come after, our teammates, you're going to get all of us at the same time, and so collectively. We support each other. We've got each other's back. It was not a pretty scene. It's not something that we're proud of. But at the same time, if we don't feel like the league is protecting us and we don't feel like the referees are protecting us, then we're adults. We have no problem protecting ourselves. And in that situation, it got a little bit carried away and a little bit out of hand. But it could be pointed at many different people, and we seem to take the brunt of all of it, which was unfortunate.
Um, yeah. So I don't know, Craig. I don't know where to go from here.
Well,
I'm trying also not to get fined. Remember?
No, we none of us want to get fined. This is the Marshawn Lynch podcast.
Yep.
We're we're trying to be very careful about this.
There's a lot of people here that normally are not here too. So
That is correct. The one thing that really got me, you talk about standing up for your mates. There's no one else out there to do it for you, right? You're on the road. There's officials. There's people that I don't know. Are they cops? Are they security guards? They're wearing a nondescript gray shirt of some sort. They could be passersby, for all we know. They could be statisticians. There's people out there in the middle of all of this. And believe me, I've watched this footage far too many times. I can go step by step. There is a person who appears at the corner of the screen, walks into the situation, gets to the perimeter of the scrum, grabs Mitchell Cardenas from behind, no words, grabs him in a two-arm lock and turns him. This is not a man who was in the middle of a confrontation, Mitchell. He was kind of at the edge of the mosh pit, so to speak. Grabs him, turns him, and restrains him, at which point soccer's players go to try and get their teammate free. That action has led to 5 games of suspension, and it's really just it's still something I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around, Craig, because I don't know who that person is. I still don't know who that human being is.
And honestly, nor do we. All we know is when we all turned, this guy had Mitchell wrapped up and potentially had, his hands up and around his neck. And Chavoy was the first one on the scene to pull the guy off of Mitchell and he bared the punishment. And the truth was, Tavoy didn't throw a punch. Tavoy could have knocked that dude out. He literally could have crushed that dude. He grabbed him by the shoulders. He pulled him off of his teammate, and Tavoy feels discriminated against in that situation. He was very clear in saying that. He said it to all of us. We had a long conversation today at the practice facility, and a 3-game suspension for pulling a guy's shoulders off of your teammate seems to be unfair and a bit much. And that is the truth. The truth is nobody asked us our opinion. Nobody explained to void the reasoning of his suspension. We felt completely put in the dark. I absolutely believe with the relationship that some of the people have, the Mesquite players got a call. Do I think they talked to Pablo da Silva and Tattoo? I absolutely firmly believe that. And I don't think they discussed it with any of the people from the soccer side. And we don't feel it's fair. But the truth is, we know as a team we haven't been as good as we want to be. We know as a team our offense isn't as fluid as it should be. And we're not oblivious. We also know it's difficult to win every single game you play, and there's a little bit of an unrealistic expectation. It's like, hey guys, I don't mind going and being the 3rd seed in playoffs and going and winning the whole thing either. It's not the end of the world. We've done that before 2 years ago. And so we're in a situation where we got to get our feet back on the floor. We got to focus on our game and how we need to play and bring it. And we need to put a little bit of less focus on the referees, less focus on the league, less focus on the people that aren't going to help or support us in any way, and focus on supporting each other on the field, focus on our finishing, focus on our tendencies after halftime, and zone into what we need to do as a team to get back in to winning ways, and kind of defer the attention a little bit away from the intangibles and put it back on ourselves.
Yeah, well,
Well, I'm so glad you said that, man. Go ahead, Jerry.
yeah, I was gonna say talking about that, and as we're now looking at our woes and what we have to work on, right, and not looking at all these other things kind of surrounding the Sockers. One of the things we talked about, Craig, was the really bad second half performances that we've been seeing. Can you kind of like walk us through that? What have you personally been seeing?
You can break down the last 15 games, and I think you'll see that we've had slow starts sometimes, and sometimes we pull away from teams in the second half, and yeah, in the last 3 to 5 games, we've seemed to have a sluggish start coming out of halftime, but there's no rhyme or reason to that. We get out of the locker room with 4 minutes left to go. We do our own warm up together as a group. With 1 minute left, we talk. Then the halftime starts in Harrisburg. I think I scored 22 seconds into the third quarter in one of the games. And sometimes you get in a situation where the ball just doesn't bounce your way. And so, there is no, hey, we're gonna save our legs for the fourth quarter. Hey, we're not gonna score on Dallas. We're gonna score every time we go to play. Sometimes you do get a little casual and a little complacent coming into a game where you're up 3 or 4 goals, and you go in cruise control, which is probably what happened in Dallas, and then there are games like Mesquite and Ontario where we just lost the plot a little bit. We got distracted. Our attention got brought in a different direction, and it cost us some really critical moments. And at the same time, we feel in both of those games the leverage or the gondola swung and completely killed us by the referees evaluation of the challenge play, which is beyond frustrating from a player standpoint. I know it may add a little bit to the game, and it gives everybody a cool little caveat in their back pocket to throw. Nobody, including the captain of the team that keeps winning, understands when you can throw the flag, when you can't throw the flag. Is it a red card? Can you do it on a goal line? Can you not do it? Can the refs do it themselves? We've seen them do that against us multiple times, never for us. I asked the referee if he would take a look at the Tavoy penalty kick that may or may not have happened with 22 seconds left in the game against Mesquite. Could have been a huge moment for them to go relook at, but they're not going to do that for us. We understand that. We've got our backs against the wall, and we have to do a better job of taking care of our responsibility on the field. And I think the rest will kind of fall into place.
So we say that because this weekend is the weekend that we've known from the day that the league schedule came out was going to be the most challenging weekend of the year for the San Diego Sockers. You're going to play 2 matches in Mexico. Talk about officiating. What happens when you go to Mexico? Usually you're going to get 2 to 3 more calls that are going to go against you. All the deck that can be stacked is going to be stacked. Never mind that Chihuahua is stacked. They're a very good team. They've lost 1 game in regulation ever at their home floor. Monterrey is a place that is a historic house of horrors for the San Diego Sockers. Seasons have ended there. What does this team do knowing you will have no Tavoy, no Mitchell, no Pino, no Charlie? You've got some other guys, secondary guys. Farber, Callahan can't make the trip. What do you guys do to pull yourself to a different spot? It'd be so easy to look back a week from now and go, well, yeah, going into that weekend, Sockers didn't have much of a chance. What do you guys do to rewrite that script?
You know, sometimes we have a lot of depth within our team, which everybody notes all the time. But I will say, as a player, sometimes you get in your best rhythm playing in twos. And I think you looked at that Mesquite team, and they probably had 4 to 5 players that didn't even see the field in the game. And if they did, they played a single shift. And so, dude, we've got Escoto, we've got Leo. I'll be there. We've got Big Rojo, Little Rojo. We've got a fantastic team. We feel confident that we can go into Mexico and get results. And truthfully, this team was built to win in Mexico. This team is 98% Hispanic. We feel more at home in Monterrey and Chihuahua than we do in Baltimore and Kansas City, without question. And the truth is, the referees that'll probably be in the Chihuahua game will be 2 referees that 90% of my teammates will be able to have dialogue with and hopefully respect each other. And it doesn't really go against us as bad as it used to in Mexico in the early 2000s. It is now, you know, if Pena refs the game, we all speak to Pena and think he is absolutely, you know, fair and speaks Spanish to both players. He speaks English to both players. And we don't think we necessarily get that from referees that are used to a different kind of game on the Central and East Coast. And so, you know, we are a technical team. We're a smaller team. We are a team that initiates and takes challenges and takes fouls, and we cater into that setup. And so, you listen, Chihuahua's a fantastic team, and so is Monterrey. We're going to be up for the battle, and we still feel confident that we can go down there and do what needs to be done.
Right on, Cap.
Yep. So as we're thinking about now where we are and where we started this season, right? There's been a lot of changes, different kinds of challenges now happening basically throughout the league, in the sense of Empire now, you know, coming for the throne and really showing up the last few games, and Chihuahua. I think in a lot of people's minds, just in the last couple of games that we've had, we've kind of dropped down in favorite to win it all. Can you kind of tell us how we're feeling and how we're looking at these upcoming teams now, going into the second half of the season?
We're confident against every single team in the league. We don't mind being the 5th seed, and we'll take care of business in every step we have to. And so, from a team standpoint, there isn't a team that bothers us. There isn't a team that scares us. Ontario's in good form, but I don't know off the top of my head. They've lost 7 or 8 games, which is quadruple the amount that we've lost this year. And so, sure, they've won the last X amount, and yeah, they're in good form. But at the same time, you know, we've taken care of business with them in the playoffs multiple times, and if they're the ones that we get, we'll take them. And if it's Chihuahua, we'll take them. And we proved last year we can run the gauntlet if we have to. And the year prior, we proved that we can have a sluggish season, middle of the season, end of the season, and still put it all together when the playoffs happen. And so, you know, from a collective group standpoint, this is a little bump in the road, and it's probably an ideal time for us to go over this bump and face this adversity and come together as a group and dial ourselves in for the next 7, 8, 9 games going into playoffs. And so the truth is, we got to focus on ourselves. We got to focus on maintaining our fitness and our sharpness and our ability to finish in front of the goal and defend like we're used to defending. And whoever we get in playoffs, we'll take it one at a time, whether we're the 1 seed or the 5 seed. We don't care. We will get into each game and go take care of business as we try to do each and every game.
Cap, I can tell you, you can't see the chat. We can see the chat. There are a lot of people that are very happy with his appearance from the captain, Craig Childs. I think there's a lot of nervous Sockers fans that needed to hear from the captain tonight, needed to hear those words from one of the best players that this sport has ever seen. I know you guys have a higher level and a form that we haven't seen on this road trip. We're all hoping to see it in Mexico. I hope to see it from yourself, my friend. I thought you were going to shave that stash, because normally you put a 0 and that bad boy's gone. So I'm expecting some production this weekend, man.
You know what? I changed my cleats and I kept the stash. And the truth is, guys, it's not easy getting older, and it's harder to sit and mentor and watch the game as much as I do, and you want to get out there and you want to be as impactful as you can, and it's just not the point of my career that I'm at. And so I've just got to help massage the team and get everybody to into their best form and sharpness, and make sure we're all on the same page, and we zone in on the task at hand. And the truth is, there is no bad blood between us and Chihuahua. I know it's competitive. It little different from Ontario, little different from Mesquite. We felt disrespected by both of those franchises. We felt unsafe, unlooked after by the league, not protected by other people. But me and Berna kind of bash into each other once a game, and we kind of giggle about it after. I got no beef with Berna or Torres or any of those dudes. We respect everything that they bring each and every time they play. I'm sure it's going to be a hell of a game. I'm sure it's going to be competitive and passionate, as it should be, because we care. But when it's all said and done, we don't feel a disrespect from Chihuahua and or Monterey as we may have for other franchises, and that's being candid. And before I jump off, I saw it slide across the chat a little bit. I do think that there needs to be a better process with the review panel committee, and I do think there needs to be a really deep dive look at who's on the review committee. And if the general fan doesn't know who's on it, and you don't, I'd love to just figure out a way for us to publicly put it out there and let everybody make their own decision on whether or not there's a bias within that panel or not. Jeff Burham, to give him credit, fantastic owner. He's all in it. He's in it to win it. Good for him. I appreciate owners like that. With that said, I don't think you can say that he's not passionate. I don't think you can say that he's not all strikers. I don't think you can say that he's not going to absolutely do whatever he can do to get strikers to win those games. And to have a guy like that making a decision on a San Diego Sockers player's suspension seems completely unfair and unjust. And it would be like Cheeky Luna deciding if Frank Caillou gets suspended or not. And it's like, I can absolutely tell you how that's going to go. 20-game suspension, never play again. He's done. I mean, it's the same guy on the committee that called Brandon Escoto a villain. I don't know who you think is a villain. Brandon Escoto is a hero in Tijuana. Brandon Escoto is a San Diego Sockers legend and one of the most talented players to grace the league in the last 10 years. And this dude is criticizing him, calling him a villain, which absolutely is unfair and shows a bias against our organization. And at this point, the Sockers are going to zone into our on-field performance and focus on ourselves, but we're also going to defend ourselves, and we're going to do what we need to do as a team, because we're not going to be taken advantage of, and we're not going to be beaten up or battered. We're going to go to war, and if you want to go to war, we'll tango. And that's the way we operate as a group. And to be honest, I'm embarrassed a little bit of how it ended with Mesquite, but I'm also proud of the team, because, we're a brotherhood. And if you come after one of us, you're going to get the whole gang, and you can suspend the whole gang. We got a whole bunch of dudes that are willing to come up and play. And it just shows you there is room for all of us to improve. We can improve as players. The league can make an improvement. The referees can make an improvement. And there are ways to do it, and there are ways to not do it. And so we're going to get down to Mexico and we're going to focus in on the games, and we're going to try to put aside all of the, intangibles that we can't fix.
Jerry, can you say goodbye to the captain? I have to go run through this wall right now. I got a wall I got to go run through. Ah!
Hey, Craig, I really obviously appreciate you coming in and chatting with us. I think if you could take something back from the team, and I don't know if you can see the chat, but it sounds like you might be able to. But, there's a lot of people here that absolutely support this team and will run through walls just like Craig did. And they're willing to pay for all the drywall that they have to just run through walls. So if you can take something back to the rest of the team, just let them know, remind them, like, you have an entire city that has your back, and we absolutely care about you guys and love you guys, and that's why I think when things like these happen, all of us are in a way emotionally invested. So just
And
go and make us
and
proud. That's it.
from a player standpoint, we absolutely appreciate the fan support. There have been dozens of times where we've drafted up responses on the MASL page and told Farber to delete that. No, Pino, you can't respond. We're bigger than that, but we absolutely see everything that goes on, and we're thankful to have the fan support we have, and it's part of the reason that playing for the Sockers is such a privilege, and it's also part of the reason when people are able to knock the Sockers off their block. We can hear them celebrating as if they've won the championship when they won a single Western Conference League game that we've done 40, 50 times in a row, and we get on with our business. And so, we're excited, and it's a little bit lonely at the top of the totem pole, but we're willing to accept that.
All right, buddy. Have a great trip. We will talk to you afterwards.
See
Thank
you
you
soon.
guys. Have a good night.
You too.
Well, Craig Childs with the best interview in soccer's overtime history.
Hey, one thing though that I did want to
There it
mention,
was.
something that kind of stuck out, and I want to make sure that because he's just so great, and I think I wanted to let him speak his mind. But as we're talking about the DRC, there's something that I want to be very clear on as we're talking through it. I see a lot of I would say assumptions at this point of who would be in the DRC and things like that. We don't know for sure. We don't know if Jeff Burham, who was mentioned multiple times, was actually involved in any of this, in these conversations. So I don't want to just assume these things and throw them out there because it's more hurtful than it is helpful.
Right.
And look, I don't necessarily love the gentleman, but I also think that we need to be kind of just be aware of that those are kind of assumptions of who is there and who isn't. And I think to that point of that Craig made, though, is that we do need a little bit of clarity in that, right? We need a little bit of transparency as far as who is involved in these things. And I'm sure there's a reason that they don't want to put this information out, but at the same time, that's kind of sketchy. And so, like, who is there more positive than negative, to hiding details like that from the normal public? I don't know. I don't think that that's the case. But just again, I have to say that because I don't want to, start saying that the entire freaking DRC is against us. I don't believe that's the case. Although sometimes it may feel that way. But we also have to look at it from all angles, I think, and be respectful, right. And I think take the higher road, as I mentioned, right? As I taught our ex first lady, when they go low,
Right.
we go
when
high.
When they go low, you go high. Right. Just as you told her,
That's how we do it.
You said, "Hey, listen." At the carving station, you mentioned it to her. Catch the game last night? You ever thought about this phrase? All right. Okay. Great stuff. That was really well said, Jerry. It's important to say that. And we are trying to be careful. And it could be the case as well as I see Gio toss out there. And Gio doesn't know either, by the way. None of us know. I'm not picking on you, Gio. I'm just saying. We don't know. Gio don't know. Maybe Jeff Burham is part of the DRC and is asked to recuse on San Diego matters.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how it goes. However, the very simple thing to say, it's an old politics saying, sunshine is the best disinfectant. Take it all out in the sun. Let us see what's going on. Who's on the committee? Who's making these decisions? You know, how were the decisions made? Because that's what I thought was the news that we put in this show, is that the Sockers were not interviewed as part of this. No one asked Tavoy Morgan what he did. No one asked Mitchell Cardenas what happened to him. No one asked anyone on the staff or the team as to their version of events. And so when you have that type of situation, you get unfairness. And when you get unfairness, you get hard feelings. So sunshine, transparency, talk to everybody involved, especially when it's a Saturday thing and it's a Saturday event and the next match is Friday.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a really big one.
Yeah, talk to everybody involved. Otherwise, you just have the chance to make a terrible, terrible decision. And I do think this was a really bad decision. I knew that Hirata would get a suspension. The first time I watched the clip, I thought Tavoy would get suspended, and then I watched it a third and a fourth and a fifth and a sixth time, and I said, he's not throwing a punch. He is lifting his arm. He's lifting his arm. People are coming across. He's lifting his arm. He's trying to grab an arm. But you know what? When you lift and reach out, that if you're from behind, if you're shooting that from back here, that could be a punch. But it's not. It's a lift and a grab. You need to talk to people. You need more than a one-camera angle. There's a lot of things. And yet, it's done. It's time to move on. It is time to move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Amidst everything, Jerry, the actual biggest result that happened was Sunday night.
I know. I was not expecting that, Craig. I was not expecting that.
Is that insane? Is that completely insane? Believe it or not, the Padres. I'm so sorry. COVID brain. Believe it or not.
Wrong sport.
The Padres did nothing. The pitchers and catchers reported. That's all. Manny's opting out. Different podcast. Different show.
Opting out.
Different show.
I'm opting out.
The Sockers gained ground last weekend. It's ridiculous to think, but it's true.
I would just like to say, ay, Chihuahua.
Yeah.
And shout out Tacoma.
Chihuahua dropped 4 points this weekend.
My goodness.
They won in overtime. They could have dropped 6 points. I mean, I watched these matches, and everyone, I know a lot of our Sockers fans, I saw you in the chat over there. A lot of you were watching that match on Friday when absolutely Tacoma could have won that game. They kind of choked it away a little bit. And then come back, and I thought they were going to get raced on Sunday. I thought they were just going to get run off the floor, and they come back and they beat the Savage. So as a result, you know, after you lose that game Saturday, Jerry, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, Sockers are going to be in a position where they could really free fall here.
Mm-hmm.
With a couple of losses. They could really free fall.
The sky is falling.
But Chihuahua is 3 points, behind San Diego with 1 extra game played. Chihuahua's at 15 games played, 32 points. San Diego at 14 and 35 points. So as long as San Diego gets a result out of the weekend, and it doesn't have to be at Chihuahua, as long as they get a result out of the weekend, they will leave the weekend still in first place with 6 home games remaining on the schedule. And just 9 games total. So it's surprisingly an opportunity. Now, get 2 results, go up there, get 6 points. You have a chance to come home and really distance yourself from Chihuahua. Put Chihuahua in a situation where they need a lot of help in order to pass you, at which point you could then focus the attention on 3 matches against Empire try and drill those guys and take care of this threat to your home field advantage the rest of the year. Home field advantage is very much a threat. And Craig was very confident in his interview saying, hey, we'll be the 5 seed and we'll win this thing. It doesn't matter. That's great. But it's a lot better to be the number 1 seed. And that's still not impossible, even with the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, good and bad, the ugly. We had it all this weekend. Really interesting to see that, too, from Chihuahua. I think just as a whole, the way that I look at this is that, everybody's still very close to each other. In quality of play and in everything, and that makes the sport so much more exciting. So it's just you can't help but keep your eyes away from this team, from this sport, from this league. Just tell your friends, everybody, y'all want a good ass novela? This is where you come and see it on Twitch. But no, this is the what is I'm not religious, but what do they say, Craig? The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away, and then He giveth again. I don't know how that goes, but something like that.
Yeah, it's something like it's something along those lines. Look, I'll just say all the on-field respect possible to Empire. They won again. They beat Monterey. They were strong. They are in the top form right now in the league. I saw Andrew Harvey put them at the number 1 spot in his personal power rankings. I was waiting for somebody to do that. That's fine. That's completely fine. Right now, Empire's playing better than San Diego. Right now, Empire is playing better than San Diego. So if you're doing a right now ranking, go ahead. Put Empire up there. That's fine. Chris Toth, to me, is the driver of this thing. He is playing the best I've seen him play in years. But all the props to them. Another big crowd in Empire, and I hope they made a lot of money off of that match. So cool. And last little tidbit: Taylor Bond lands in Utica.
Yeah,
for the Harrisburg trade.
Really interesting, huh? What do you know?
What a great trade that was for Harrisburg.
Yeah,
trading a Araujo for Zach Reggett, and also for Taylor Bond. That worked out to, well, they got to flip him for a whole bunch of other players. Yeah. So I guess it turned out being all right.
I mean, I think Utica's doing right by Taylor Bond, giving him a place that he can go and play at. It's just interesting how these things work out. I think we knew it from the moment that first trade happened, that wasn't it, that wasn't going to be the end of it, and that's not where those players were going to stay. So here you have it. I guess somewhat of a closing moment to that whole situation, that whole part of that novela over there.
Yeah, that one is done. That one's done. All right, we got a couple quick announcements, and then we're going to be out of here. We've got this incredible crowd. We've kept this incredible crowd through the show, and we thank you. We've got one big announcement still to come. But first, I want to talk about Friday. Friday is Soccer's Chihuahua. It is 6 p.m. Savage are going to be full strength, and I'm just going to say this one more time. The Sockers will not have Tavoy Morgan. And now, look, could something happen with us in the league between here and when they leave? Probably not. Probably not. But as it stands, Tavoy will not make this trip. Mitchell will not make this trip. They could bring Gerardo. He can't play in Chihuahua. And then it's back to that old thing. Charlie Gonzalez can't travel to Mexico. And Guerrero Pino can't travel to Mexico. So those guys are always part of the reason why we dread the Mexico weekend. Because we know that a couple of our best players won't be there. So the Sockers won't have either of their on-ball defending tandem of Pino Cardenas, the two guys who rotate for each other. They're both out for this match. So it puts Serta and Rojo on the ball. It puts Big Rojo into the regular defensive rotation with Pee-wee. And we're going to have to add someone else defensively to the back. It might be bringing someone to the back like a Juan. But nonetheless, Sockers won't have those guys. And for a cherry on top, due to work concerns, Brian Farber won't be on this trip, and neither will Sean Callahan. So those are two depth pieces that will also be gone. So the Sockers will have 6 guys off this trip, which is wild.
Real quick, so this isn't like, when you get a yellow card or whatever, where you can actually pick a different player to actually go into the box and pay for the yellow card and continue playing with the other player. So, like, we could actually just say that, no, actually, Charlie and Pino are going to take the suspensions.
Right.
And they're going to stay at home. We can't do that. Just want to clarify.
Pino says, no, it was me. It was me all along.
Hey, I did it.
Damn video. Some folks are asking about Pollo. Pollo should be in the lineup. Pollo, from my understanding, is a go for this weekend, and that's huge. You're probably going to see Churras move up to forward and alternate with Craig at forward. I'm not saying that's guaranteed, but your number one target is gone. Tavoy is not there. That's where the offense has been going for the last couple of years. So is it bringing Leo up? Is it bringing Churras up? Someone's going to have to come up and alternate target with Craig. But, we always talk about this team that's got so many guys that can score. There's certain games where you need to lean on certain guys. And it needs to be a huge game for Christian. It needs to be a huge game for Leo. It needs to be a huge game for Pollo. And it needs to be a huge game for Escoto. Like, those guys have to come through. Big Rojo, little Rojo. Has to be a big game for the Rojo family. That's where the Sockers can come through and still be right in the middle of these matchups.
Absolutely. But you know what? I feel a lot better about it. And I had been thinking about that too, especially after finding out and really looking at how many people we're going to be missing. But I feel like Captain Craig Childs did a great job of making me feel better and probably everybody else feel better about our depth and just saying, hey, that's fine. We have plenty of other people that can step it up and take care of business. And he seemed very confident. I mean, if you saw it in his face when I asked the question about how are we looking at Empire and Chihuahua and all those guys, there's a little smirk on his face like, I'm not worried about it. Like I know what we have going on. So that felt good. I mean, we can still talk about it, Craig, but I feel like even with all these players missing, and after listening to Captain Craig Childs talk, I feel like we're going to be okay. Like, we may lose these games, but it's not going to be that terrible blow that I think I was expecting or kind of immediately thought of when the suspensions came out. So, I mean, hopefully that helps anybody else that was feeling bad feel a little better.
I feel a lot better after this show.
Yeah.
So Friday is our watch party. It is at Calafino, at the Calafino Sublimate Lounge, 3250 Greyhawk Court, 3238 Greyhawk Court, Carlsbad, California. It is open for Sockers fans. We invite you to come on out starting around 5:30 and to hang out for the match. Now, Jerry and I are supposed to be there to do an English language broadcast of Sockers Chihuahua for you all to enjoy and also to be streamed right here on our San Diego Sockers Twitch channel. Here's what's in the way of that potentially happening. I'm on my 7th day of being COVID positive. Jerry's not feeling good. Y'all probably going to have a test real soon.
Yeah, I feel like that green emoji with the kind of with his face with the not feeling good. Like that's me right now. But yeah, I'm gonna test. I should mention some really good things, and if we're not there, you should still definitely be there because it's gonna be a great watch party. There will be tacos. We haven't. And Ezra mentioned that we should talk about this. There's gonna be a taco truck there.
There will be tacos. There'll be libations. There will be a lot of good stuff. There'll be a lot of good stuff. The only thing there may not be are the two of us. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll find out. So stay tuned.
Hey, Craig, I'm echoing apparently. I think
Let
that's
me
in
put
your
this
end.
back in. That's on my end.
Yeah. Oh, see? Yeah. Nope. Is your audio coming out of your laptop?
You know what happened?
What you did?
What happened was
What happened?
my earbuds died.
Oh.
My earbuds died. And so when
Everybody.
they died, it reverted back. And
Everybody's
then-
just falling apart. But
what can I
anyways,
tell you?
we're gonna
I'm
do our
gonna
best.
suspend this earbud.
Fingers crossed.
Into this
Everything.
case. So yeah. Fingers crossed. We'll have English language broadcasts for you Friday and Sunday. By the way, Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
For Soccer's at Monterey. That is the goal. That is the plan. And it is simply health dependent. If I feel good, if I test negative, I'll be there. And if Jerry fails to test positive and feels good, he'll be there. And if not, well, you'll get to enjoy our guys down in Chihuahua who actually do a great job, just in a different language. So that is Friday. Saturday, the match is at 1:30 San Diego time. And hopefully Jerry and I will be at Calafino, but that will not be open to the public. That'll just be the two of us in there announcing the game. Hopefully. Knock wood. I got wood right there. Here's the last thing. Very, very excited about this, guys. This is something that's been going on behind the scenes for a while. But when the Sockers come home on Saturday, March 4th, that match, Alumni Night, Julie V. Bobblehead Night, Soccer's Sidekicks, will be, for the first time ever, a live television broadcast on Fox 5 San Diego. We are going live on Fox 5 with your San Diego Soccer's broadcast, Soccer's Sidekicks on live over-the-air broadcast TV this coming Saturday, March 4th, next home game. 2 Saturdays from now, our Fox 5 television debut. This is the one match we'll have this year, certainly in the regular season, for the Sockers on Fox 5. It's something we've been working with them on for the last 3 months, and we are super, super excited for what we hope is the beginning of a great partnership with Fox 5 San Diego, the station that, without a doubt, is the most committed to local sports broadcasting of anyone in this town. So really excited. That's an announcement we've been sitting on for a little while, but that Saturday night special, that will be a Fox 5 San Diego live broadcast at 7 o'clock. So make sure, if nothing else, that you set your recorder to make sure to record the match. And, of course, it'll be on Twitch, too. It'll be on Twitch as well. It'll be a simulcast. But we're really trying to grow this audience to folks who have disconnected from the Sockers or have never been connected to the Sockers. And Jerry, I sure hope a match on Fox will help us out.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure you tell all your friends, tell your family, tell everybody you know that if, for those of us that for whatever reason just can't do Twitch, now there's another option for the March 4th game. So, yeah, great news. I see everybody in the chat there is excited about it. And it's something that I know Craig has been working very hard on, and finally is coming to fruition. I remember the first time you told me there's a possibility of this happening. It was like, yes, all right. What do we have to do? Let's make this happen. And here we are, March 4th. Tune into Fox 5. Game kicks off at 7:05 p.m. If you guys can be there, of course, that would be the best way to go. Then you might actually be on Fox 5 if you are in the crowd. So there you go. And get yourself that awesome Julie V bobblehead as well. $4 Bud Lights, halftime alumni game. It's lots of other surprises obviously coming. So that's a really good one, and really happy to be able to share that with everybody today.
Absolutely. And yes, we'll come up with a cool infographic for that that you can share, Jerry. When he's not feeling good, Marlisha, now you're asking him to make graphics?
Oh my gosh.
I got to move up in the bubble. Here. What are you doing? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we'll have some cool stuff. We've actually been giving them promo commercials. Believe it or not, I'm not expecting all y'all to be watching all the commercial breaks on Fox 5 San Diego, but some Sockers commercials have already been running for previous matches and for the March 4th match, and their own promotional commercials will be running next week as well. So hopefully we'll have a big run-up, have a big crowd, and have a great broadcast as well, and show the best, most telegenic sport of them all, more than lacrosse, more than hockey. The most telegenic arena sport is indoor soccer. So hopefully everything is going to be an absolute banger. Very last thing, Jerry. Happy birthday, Marlisha. It's Marlisha's birthday today.
Hey! Happy birthday! Happy birthday, Marlisha.
Happy birthday, Marlisha.
We love you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I got to let you go, man, and get back to bed. I appreciate you so much.
Apparently, I have to make an infographic. Gabriel
Can he
even
sleep
said,
first, Marlisha?
Chop, chop, Jerry.
That hurts. That hurts.
Ugh.
That hurts. Well, roll the music. We got to get Jerry out of here. He's got work to do. This has been one of our best. I think it's been our highest attended episode ever.
And of course,
Soccer's
it's
Overtime.
both of us sick. That's hilarious. But
Yeah,
welcome, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
For everyone who has been here for the first time, please follow our channel so that you'll be notified for future notifications. For everybody, for future live broadcasts, you'll get those notifications. Everybody watching on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe, help grow this show, help grow this podcast. Thanks to Craig Childs for the best interview in Soccer's Overtime history. We appreciate him. Jerry, thank you for your fortitude. And I'll say thanks to the miracle of science that I'm okay too. So let's hope that we're all healthy and that we'll see one another on Friday. But rest up, buddy. Rest up, test up, and hopefully see you real soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys all for joining us, obviously, once again. And for all of you that are new here, hopefully you'll join us next week. We should be on Tuesday. This is, where we are. Tuesday nights is where you want to come here on Twitch at San Diego Sockers. And shout out to our Nightbot doing a lot better this episode. Shout out to our moderator.
Thanks to our moderator, Parker, doing a great job. Follow us on TikTok at San Diego Sockers, on Instagram at San Diego Sockers, on Facebook at San Diego Sockers, and on Twitter, if you want to, at San Diego Sockers. For Craig Childs, for Jerry Jimenez, for Parker, for all of you, I'm Craig Elston. Hope to see you Friday at the watch party. Hopefully we'll have some real fun stuff to talk about next week. Either way, we'll be right back here with another edition of Soccer's Overtime. Until then, have a great time and go Sockers!